Well, hello and welcome to Wildcat Week. I'm Roger Alcock. Going to talk a little bit Wildcat football first, as the Wildcats faced off against Siena Heights, the Saints out of the state of Michigan, and really securing one of the biggest wins in the history of the program as they defeated a top 20 foe here at home. Joining us now is the head coach of the Wildcats, Jordan Langs. And Coach, a lot of reasons I think this was a big win for your program. We mentioned the top 25 foe. Siena Heights was ranked number 14 in the country. But I think I know you well enough to know the bigger thing is that we're now into November, and as full members of the Mid-States Football Association in the Mid-East League, you guys are in the hunt for a league title, and you've got, what, 2 games left, and you're right where you would hope to be.
Yeah, I mean, for it to be a program that's playing meaningful games in November is a big deal. At any level, there's a lot of teams that aren't doing that. They're already out of that discussion. So we've had to play some really tough games. We've got big, tough games coming up, but it's cool to be a part of something that each game has weight to it. And it's also cool to solidify the effort that we've put up the last couple of weeks. We had a close one up there in Fort Wayne, and to come play the team that just beat St. Francis and beat them at home is a big deal, mostly because it's a marker of our growth more so than just one-time event, so that was cool.
We talk about all 3 phases of the game a lot. Your defense gave up some yards, but came up with huge stops when they had to. You won the turnover battle. I thought your special teams played pretty well. A group we don't really talk about that much is your offensive line. I thought they were outstanding. Yeah. They haven't given up a sack in I don't know how long. And they got Devadney offered some holes to run through. So, but all 3 phases of the game, pretty good job.
Yeah, I mean, we were really close to that 2 weeks ago up in Fort Wayne about playing a complete 60 minutes, and this one was pretty stinking close. All 3 phases of the game scored, all had elite plans, and special teams was the winning edge. And 2 weeks ago, that was a reason probably why we dropped the game up there. And no doubt that this past Saturday is the reason we won it, so that was really cool.
When you talk about winning the turnover battle, that's always a really good thing to do, but it's not as big of a factor if you don't take advantage of turnovers. You guys absolutely did take advantage of your turnovers.
Yeah, the special teams created a turnover, the defense scored and created the turnover back to us, then coming out of half, defense taking the ball away in the first place, set our offense up, which was just playing a great team game, which is important.
As we take a look at some highlights here, the first quarter, pretty much a scoreless first quarter, and we talked about special teams, but you knock them down deep in their own territory. But credit to the Saints, they really did move the ball pretty well a couple times.
Yeah, and I think what the important thing that Coach Clark did on defense was they made them do what they didn't want to do. They're one of the elite running teams in the country. Yeah. We held them to 105 yards rushing, whatever it was. So they did rack up some passing yards, but when you can make a team one-dimensional and do something they don't want to do, that's a sign of a good defense, and that's what they did.
It is really nice to have Devadney Alford back in the lineup healthy, because he not only runs the ball well, but he catches it out of the backfield well.
Yeah, I mean, he's been our leading receiver for a couple weeks here, and he's just such a dual threat and such a great player, and he makes a lot of things that we do on offense go, so he's played extremely well.
You know, and particularly having him on the receiving end when the rest of your opponents really know what Braden Smith is capable of, and they may be focusing on stopping him, to have that outlet is awesome.
Yeah, it's starting to really stretch defenses, and Zach Blair's doing a good job of managing that. Coach Taraz is putting us in good positions, and like you said, the offensive line's playing phenomenal right now, so they're clicking.
Well, now we're into the second quarter, and the first score of the game goes to Siena Heights. It was a long drive, 14 plays, 95 yards, and you guys get the ball back, not really able to do much with it, and the Saints go on another drive here.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be important for us to be patient. I mean, they're the number 2 defense in the country for a reason. It's a very good defense with very good players. So we had to be patient. So getting down 14 wasn't ideal, and it had us on our heels a little bit. But again, we played really well as a team, and defense finally started to bow up and really was solid the rest of the game. And the special teams became a big factor.
You know, I know they hurt you a couple times in the first half with that. With this, the screen to the tailback, but there was a couple of times in the second half. I remember one play in particular. I think it was the fourth quarter where Owen Perkins read the play and blew it up.
Yeah, I mean, Well, Coach Clark and the staff did just a phenomenal job of getting adjusted, and that's exactly what they did. They did some nice things offensively. We got adjusted, and both sides of the ball, offense and defense, had really elite plans, and we stayed patient. We persevered, and we just kept playing hard, and eventually took care of itself.
Now, what a huge series here. Ben Von Gunten hits the 38-yard field goal, and then I don't know what the play of the game, the big hit.
Yeah.
I think it was Bilski with the hit, and Justin Fry returns it for the touchdown, and all of a sudden we got a brand new ball game.
Yeah, this was an elite series of events. We score on special teams, and then we go score on defense, which then gets us another extra possession, which they deferred. They were getting the ball coming out of half. So to us, go score, get the ball back, and really go 4 scores in a row with only possessing the ball twice on offense is a big deal. And Coach Terrazas did a nice job of putting us in that position once the defense got us the ball back. And this was a great play by Zach and a good finish by Caleb.
Yeah, stepping up into the pocket, making the throw, and Caleb Kelly can make some really remarkable catches.
Yeah, he's an acrobat when it comes out of there sometimes, and you saw that twice today, or Saturday.
So you go into the locker room, you have scored 18 consecutive points, you have an 18-14 lead. I think you had to have certainly taken the momentum, but maybe stunned the Saints a little bit there because they really had the momentum.
Well, yeah, and then we came out of half and intercepted the ball in the very first play, got us the ball back, and then Cam gets us the ball back again.
Yep.
And just phenomenal resilience by all 3 phases, and we came up with some more big punts, and we stayed on track offensively. Offensive line stayed on track, and just a really good team win. We want this to become our identity. We want to play with all 3 phases and play together and not play separately of each other.
In the third quarter, you've got that 7-point lead. This was a play that reminded me last year against Olivet Nazarene.
It was the exact same play. We just decided to put it closer to the score zone. We thought it'd be advantageous, and Caleb really sold it well, sold the run well, slipped it, and Braden did a little jump pass action and got it there.
So now it's 28-14. Time for your defense to step up, continue to make great plays. The second half, you only allowed the 7 points, I believe, in the second half.
Yeah, just 7, and that's what playing really good team defense is about. Offensively, we lulled a little bit. We can't take our foot off the pedal, but defense ended up winning the game. They stayed on the field, and again, we were putting Siena in situations they're uncomfortable with, which was passing the ball, playing from behind, and having to play with tempo. So we did a good job of persevering and staying with it and making them drive the length of the field multiple times here.
Yeah, put them in bad field position here, and again, I hate the term bend don't break, but they did have to try to throw the ball. They did get some yardage, but every single time this fourth quarter, when you needed someone to make a play, they did.
Yeah, and we made them work and earn everything, and that's a big deal. And we end up getting the holding call on that play, bumping them back, and getting it to 3rd and 20, which turned out to really be one of the plays of the game. And so that was a big deal, and our kids showed a ton of resiliency and persevered and played with passion and composure and kind of rode the emotional wave that is when you play a top 15 team like this. This is something we've got to get used to in this conference.
Well, here's the play that kind of seals the deal, if you will. 4th and 14. You know, they made it interesting. They had converted a couple times and got a fresh set of downs. And then you see the guys on the sideline celebrating the big victory. Again, a great team win and a win that was really hard fought.
Yeah, and it's important because it's a big step in our growth as a program, and it's important for the long term. That's important. It's also important now that we get a chance to play for some pretty neat things coming up here. So I think it's good for our kids to have a lot of confidence. It's good for that confidence to be laced with humility and recognize that what we have in front of us is formidable yet achievable.
Cam Locke, 2 interceptions, 9 tackles. He was back there a couple times on the punt return team. Yeah. What a game that guy had. Huh?
Yeah, there was a lot of kids that stepped up, and we ended up playing a lot of snaps on defense, and we needed some timely takeaways, and we got them. And it was cool to see the amount of effort that our kids give, even when things are hard. That's a cool mark of the program.
Well, but when we started the show, we talked about in November, playing games that mean something, that count. And it doesn't get any easier. It doesn't get any bigger, I think, because next week Marion comes to town, ranked number 2 in the nation. They're undefeated. Last week they defeated Taylor 41-3. Maybe the most talented team in the conference and in the best conference in the country at the NAI level. So a huge task for the Wildcats, but one I think your guys will be up for.
Yeah, I mean, we've been prepping them since April. Like, it's not gonna, you don't get all of a sudden take a breath for 3 weeks and then play another good team. You're gonna play one every single week. So our kids will be ready for it. We'll have a plan. We'll try to stay within our plan and continue to fight and give ourselves a chance in every single drive. So I think our kids are excited, and we look forward to the opportunity this weekend next.
Yeah, when you look at Marion, obviously they're talented. They got a good offense, but maybe they hang their hat on their defense. They're just a really outstanding defensive
team. I mean,
team.
they're totally fine. They are a very good defensive team, and they're totally fine doing that and handing the ball off. And they have one of the best running backs to ever play in this conference, and they're okay. They have some great athletes at a lot of positions, and they're okay just kind of doing their thing on all 3 phases of the game. And for us, it's going to take a great team effort, and it's going to take us all being on the same page and us staying positive and not creating negative plays in all 3 phases, and give ourselves a chance at the end of the game.
And the final regular season home game of the year, so we hope we have a great crowd out there on
That'd
Saturday.
Be awesome, yeah.
All right, well, as we mentioned, the Wildcat football team is back in action November the 9th as they take on the Knights of Marion University. Kickoff is at noon. Well, when we come back, Randall King shows us how the Wildcats prepare to fight the cold weather conditions. So don't go away. Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. This late in the football season, it takes stamina to play through the Indiana weather. Randall King says the Wildcats are prepared to play through the cold.
Crunch time in the Wildcat season. And crunch time can mean cold and crunchy in Indiana. No worries for these players because at least they're still in the game.
We had a really good, productive day out here, even though it was a little cold and a little wet.
We got to be playing in this weather if we want to succeed.
No worries for coaches either. After all, they say you play like you practice.
You never know what kind of weather you're going to get on Saturdays now. So, yeah, we talk about how if we want to be a playoff team, which is what our goal is to be, then you got to handle things that come at you.
It's not ideal weather for practicing, and it certainly wouldn't be great for a game. Who knows what these stands would look like on game day if we had weather like this. But this is what a mature team wants to be doing, still competing late in the season when the weather turns ugly. Because ultimately it's more about competing for championships than getting a lot of cheers. Drilling the basics hard, even this late, means these players know what it takes to extend a season. A sign of a team that's not just happy to be here, but is growing up right before the fans and the rest of the league.
You got to bring it every week. The MSFA is no joke. You got a lot of really good teams. So if you come one day and you're not at your best, you can get rolled.
Playing in the toughest conference in the NAI, most would say, and then playing probably in the toughest division in the NAI with St. Francis, Concordia, Marion, and Siena. This is exactly what we signed up for.
There will be more weather in practice and storms on the field, but these Wildcats are ready, not just because of talent, but because they're tested, tried, and together.
I thought we grew up a lot last year, and I felt the maturity and the maturation, which was cool. And then we kind of just took it to a new level this year, and we kind of take a new step. Most programs aren't sitting here at any level in the country and hold their own destiny.
The new kids on the block are done. Welcome to the Wildcat team. All grown up and planning to stick around a while. In Marion, I'm Randall King for Wildcat Week.
Well, thank you so much, Randall. And as you guys can imagine, it's only going to get colder. Well, when we come back, Mikala Woodfork will bring us the breakdown, and we'll talk to Candace Moats as the Wildcat volleyball team dominates their division. Don't go away. And welcome back to Wildcat Week. Now we'll send it over to Mikala Woodfork with the breakdown.
Thanks, Roger. The women's soccer team beat St. Francis 2-0. Lexis Garcia scored the first goal in the 30th minute, and Cindy Brown scored the second goal in the 34th minute. They will now advance to the Crossroads League semifinals. The men's team, however, faced Mount Vernon in the Crossroads League quarterfinals and lost 2-0. The football team went up against number 14th ranked team Siena Heights and won. They beat the team 28-21, making for the program's first top 25 win. The volleyball team is still on a roll as they beat Huntington in 3 straight games to win the match. They won the first game 25-23, the second 25-14, and the third 25-15. The ladies are now 30-1 overall this season and 16-1 in the Crossroads League. The men's basketball team faced Lincoln College and walked away with a 83-74 win. Kyle Mangus and Noah Smith were both on fire this game. Mangus scored 22 points and Smith was right behind him, scoring 20 points. And finally, the women's basketball team has kicked off their season with 2 straight wins. They gained their first win against Aquinas, winning 66-54, and their second win against Cornerstone, winning 71-45. Dayton Groniger had a career-high game this game with a total of 27 points. Man, what a way to start off the season. Well, that's all I have for you this week for the breakdown. Back to you, Roger.
Well, thank you so much, Mikala. Now we turn our attention to volleyball, where the Wildcats are winding down their regular season, and they are in the midst of a 10-game winning streak. And joining me now is the head coach of the Wildcats, Candace Moats, and coach, 10-game winning streak after that letdown against Marion. But one of the things I noticed, and I think it's a remarkable stat, in those last 10 games, 3-0 every game. You haven't lost a set in 10 games. That's remarkable.
Yeah, I guess when we look at it, we're just kind of approaching the match like, okay, we just got to play well in each set. We don't really think about, dropping a set or going 3-0. I mean, that would be obviously what we'd want to do. But I think it's just playing the game and fortunately just staying disciplined and achieving the goal of winning each set.
Well, we're going to take a look at some highlights of the game we had recently against St. Francis, last home match. But since that, I just want to talk really briefly. You've been on the road. You beat Bethel 3-0, Huntington 3-0. So continuing to play well. And, it's always a little different dynamic on the road. But continuing to play well there as well. Yeah.
I think what's been something to point out for this season is that we have been battling everybody's best. And I just want to say that it is remarkable how these ladies have kept their poise and how they go in every match and just keep our mission in mind of stay together, play together, give it all you got, stay disciplined, and make sure that we do this in a way that's going to honor the Lord. And it's been really cool to see how that has somewhat relaxed them and have given them confidence.
Well, we're going to take a look at some highlights of this victory against St. Francis. Again, it was at home. And, St. Francis sure didn't make it easy, even though it was a 3-0 match. They're third place in the conference. They've got talent on that squad.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy, and they made it a little bit difficult on your hitters at times. But I thought that the key was just how well you guys played defensively and how well you passed the ball.
Yeah, we knew this was going to be a big match, and I think what was kind of neat about it was that we knew that we had to be super disciplined with this team because they were very good. And one of the things I think that just really upped our game some was we blocked super well. Yeah. And that's something we've been working on a lot because we have not been necessarily always good at that. And I was pretty excited for the fact that we accomplished, especially in the second set. Well, it's like a block party.
Yeah, and this is a set point here in the first, and I think that was Kelly Miller there. But, you talked about the blocking. Obviously, Rachel Klitzing and Allison Sparrow, the Millers up front. But even, I remember there were a couple times, it might have been the second set, where Alex Falcone was up there getting a couple blocks.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it was a real team effort.
Yeah. We've been working a lot on that, and it's been kind of cool to see that, they just got their eyes in the right spots and really accomplished the goal.
Well, so you take the first set, 25-21. Second set, probably the most dominant set of this match, 25-14. But you really, you fell behind a little bit early here, 4-2. But once you got the swings going, you got things moving, you really took control of the second set.
Yeah, one of the things that we knew about this team somewhat was they played emotionally, and that's something we've been talking a lot about. Is we don't play emotionally, we just play with passion, we play steady, we play with discipline, and we don't let ourselves get all panicked because we're down 4-2 or whatever, because volleyball is a type of game that it's phenomenal how the runs are up and down.
Yeah.
Momentum changes.
Well, and volleyball can be, if you allow it to be, an emotional sport.
And that's what I feel like St. Francis did in set 2. They just let it get to them and became an emotional experience rather than just playing their disciplined game.
Well, so now we're into the third set, and credit to the Cougars of St. Francis. I certainly think they played hard in this third set.
Oh, yeah.
But you guys were able to maintain that passion you're talking about, and that level of intensity and good play.
Yeah, we knew that they would come back in that third set. We knew that, and we just talked a little bit about, okay, what did they anticipate us and expecting us to do, and then we need to have that in mind as well as a countering of what else can we do, and not be just so vanilla in the way we were running things, and I think we did a really good job of that.
You talked about the block. That was the solo block up front. I believe that was Rachel Klitzing, and before that, Anna Collar with the big swing. And, we like to see the big swings. We like to see the kills and all that kind of good stuff. But if you want to watch a great defensive player as a freshman, come watch Haven Gates.
Yeah.
She was outstanding with, I think, 19 digs.
Yeah.
And Abby Rutt, I thought, was phenomenal just in terms of the service return and great pass, that great first pass.
Yeah, I think that there is a lot of strengths in our defense, and each person brings something a little bit more than the other one does. Like Abs's passing is phenomenal. She just keeps in system most of the time, which is really helpful for our setters. And it's hard to block and stop an offense when you're always on the net. And she provides that. Haven Gates provides that as well. But I think defensively, Anna Collar and Haven Gates they're just everywhere. They're just running through balls and picking them up, and it's fun to watch them because they save things that you shouldn't have saved, and then you think that it's a kill and it should be a kill, but it's not.
Well, you have one more match left in the regular season of the Crossroads League.
Yep.
You take on Goshen at home on senior night. It is a must-win, though, if you want to maintain a share of the Crossroads League championship or first place there, because Marion's been rolling along as well. So big night to take on Goshen on the Maple Leafs, and senior night. You certainly want to celebrate your seniors.
Yeah. So we really feel like, this is just going to be that night that we're just going to really accomplish the goal that we had, was to win the conference. And Marion's an exceptional team too, not only one loss to us. And so we're sharing the same seasons, and we're kind of going neck and neck. And so we're okay, that's a great team to share a conference championship with. So it's okay, Of course, we always cheered for each other. I'm sure they cheered for us too to lose, so we could solely be the champions. But we win the tiebreaker, so it feels like we're winning the championship anyway.
Well, and of course, the tournament coming up after that, starting next weekend. But well, Coach, again, congratulations on the victory, and thanks for joining us here on Wildcat Week once again.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
As we said, the Wildcat volleyball team will play their last regular season home game on November the 6th as they host Goshen College. That game begins at 7 p.m. Well, that is all we have for you on this episode of Wildcat Week. If you would like to see more of Wildcat Week, you can visit our website, wiwtv.com. There you can watch past episodes and connect with us online. Once again, that is wiwtv.com. And you can stay connected with all our local programming by subscribing to our YouTube channel. That's WIWTV on YouTube. Well, we look forward to seeing you next week. So for all of us here, thanks for watching Wildcat Week.